Did you know that Brock Purdy has started throwing real NFL footballs? Not towels, not tennis balls, none of that. Real, official pigskin issued by the NFL. First time that Brock Purdy has been throwing since the repaired UCL injury. John Lynch provided a pretty substantial update in that regard, but it wasn't the only thing that John Lynch talked about. He opened up a little nugget that's got Twitter spinning right now, and we're going to talk about it all right after this. But first, you already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat. Smash that like button because we got 49ers football to talk about. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Oh, hello there. I didn't see that the intro was over with. Good to see you guys. Shout out to all the SDS joining. We got some stuff to talk about today. Shout out to Gang. Shout out to SDS. We see all you people out there checking in. What's going down? Hashtag gluten gang baby. SDS. Is Brad Stradamus officially back? Is he back? He might be. I don't know. You tell me. But we got some stuff to talk about. John Lynch today gave his first. We got our first official update about Brock Purdy throwing a football. What? Oh, baby. You know you're a 49er fan when you get excited about your quarterback throwing a football. Let's freaking go. I'm so hyped, man. I'm hyped. We got Brock Purdy throwing a football. He's upgraded from tennis ball to towel to football. Official NFL pigskin. The Duke. He's throwing the Duke out there. Let's go. Only in 49ers land will you find people as excited to just see your quarterback throwing a football. And that's how it should be. Because if you know us and you've experienced these last couple months, you know that there have been a lot of ups and downs regarding the quarterback position. You know how we got here. You know how the UCL injury occurred. You know how devastating that was. And you know the trickle-down effect that occurred as a result. Well, we finally got Brock. I mean, you guys remember when we saw Brock Purdy at the Giants game and he was waving to the fans? We got excited about Brock Purdy waving his surgically repaired arm. Like, okay, look at that. Now we got Brock Purdy throwing. And again, this is according to John Lynch. He went on Sirius XM NFL radio this morning and provided some solid updates. And of course, you would imagine that John Lynch is going to provide good updates as long as it's good. You know what I'm saying? So I think we can take it with a bit of a grain of salt because obviously if he had a major setback or something like that, that would be obviously the opposite side of where we want to be in that scenario. But it does sound like everything is going well. And if you're just joining us, Brock Purdy had his first throwing session post UCL surgery. And that's ahead of schedule, right? Ahead of schedule. Everything's ahead of schedule with Brock Purdy right now because it was slated to be the beginning of June. Hey, we beat that timeline. We beat the June timeline. That's a W, people. That's a W. Anytime you beat a timeline, that's a W, right? So we beat the June 1st deadline. They said beginning of June. And it might be semantics at this point. But hey, it's still May 31st today as we sit here, and Brock Purdy's throwing. So that's good news. And let's get into some of the stuff. Shout out to Cam Inman from Bay Area News Group, who caught the interview and transcribed it and pulled a lot of really good quotes out of this from John Lynch speaking with SiriusXM. Basically goes on to say, I'll just pull it up so we can read along. We have a read along live today. Normally I would show clips, videos, but this is all we got, so we're gonna work with it. Let me get it up here. Again, it's from Cam Inman. Basically, and we're just gonna kind of skim through, pull some quotes out, talk about the quotes, what it means, and good, bad, indifferent, all of it. Basically, the early returns are really good on Brock Purdy's first throwing session since the March 10th elbow surgery. And that is according to, of course, general manager John Lynch. This is the quote that we've all been seeing kind of circulating after the one throwing session thus far. John Lynch says, "We're incredibly encouraged by that." Fantastic, John. I'm glad that we are incredibly encouraged. He says he's hitting all his marks, and that doesn't surprise us because he's putting in all the work. Of course, work ethic with Brock Purdy has never been questioned. Brock Purdy is a guy who's going to get after it. He's going to put in the effort. He's the first one in, last one out. That's who Brock Purdy is. So no surprise there. And again, John Lynch reiterates that. Not really a surprise. And he goes on to talk about the timetable for return, which again has been or like, as I guess we would say, as Kyle Shanahan would say, only God knows. Only God knows when Brock Purdy is going to be back. But regardless of, that outer body type of timetable for return for Brock Purdy, John Lynch says, as a best case scenario, we'll take it as it comes. Again, the cautious language, not setting the expectation definitively, but again, being hopeful. The hope is he's ready for training camp, just like John Lynch reiterated at the owners' meetings a couple months ago. The hope is he's ready for the regular season. Again, that's kind of been the original timetable for Brock Purdy. It's been moving around because they're trying to temper expectations like we've talked about. But again, it all keeps coming back to Brock Purdy is on track, maybe even a little ahead of schedule, and is still on track for training camp. And if Brock Purdy is on track for training camp, why wouldn't he be on track for the regular season? So that is good. So again, Brock Purdy throwing for the first time since the surgically repaired UCL. And from what we've heard, it sounds good. Hey, I'll take it, man. I will take it. Last time I saw Brock Purdy throw, he had a torn UCL. So the fact that he's out here throwing off the repaired, again, an injury that we literally had genuine conversations of, is this guy going to ever play football again? We had those conversations. So it is refreshing. It is positive to hear that he is throwing again. And I'm sure there's going to be a ramp up period. I'm sure it's who knows what they were actually doing. But the fact that he is throwing is a fantastic sign. And of course, there are other quarterbacks on the roster: Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, and Brandon Allen. So this isn't all just about Brock Purdy. He dropped some nuggets. He dropped a little couple nuggets in here. And it again positions where we are with the quarterback situation. Just as we all know, the 49ers feel really good about the position. They feel good about how Brock Purdy's returning. They feel good about Trey Lance's progressions. They like Sam Darnold a hell of a lot. They've made that abundantly clear that they like Sam Darnold. And I even think Brandon Allen is also impressing as well. So right now, the 49ers have 4 quarterbacks that they feel good about. And as they continue to talk about, they're not going to put Brock Purdy in a situation where he's not fully healed, of course. Makes perfect sense. They're not going to rush him back. They're going to do this the right way because I think the 49ers are very crystal clear that it doesn't make sense to rush Brock Purdy back. And why would you if you do feel confident with your backup quarterbacks, Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen? Let Brock get back to health and only put Brock in when he's truly at 100. That's it. We've got Trey Lance praise from John Lynch. John Lynch says that Trey Lance had a really quality offseason, as again, we have been talking about. We have been talking about Trey Lance's offseason, all the work he's done with Jeff Christensen, Patrick Mahomes, the improved mechanics. It's been put under a microscope, and John Lynch is reiterating the quality offseason that Trey Lance has had, and also is talking about Sam Darnold's fit, taking to the coaching and the structure that they're giving to him. And to be honest, that's what Darnold needs. Darnold needs the structure. Darnold needs the coaching. So I guess good things for those guys, right? Let's see. But this little quote here buried at the end is, I think, what's got, at least 49ers Twitter kind of up, having conversations about, because it's the first time that we have heard someone from the San Francisco 49ers organization, whether it's Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, any of the quarterbacks, any of that, say it will be an open competition. So, again, let's read it. John Lynch reiterated a line from March in stating that Purdy is, quote, the leader in the clubhouse. Nothing changes there when it comes to the 49ers starting quarterback job, but it will be open for competition. That's a quote. It will be open for competition. It's up to those guys to win the job. Now, it's funny because we'll get to the actual meat of this. I got a lot of pushback from certain people when I said this about when I was at the Golden Heart Foundation Dwight Clark series event where Kyle Shanahan spoke about the quarterback for about a solid 30 minutes. My big takeaway from listening to Kyle Shanahan talk about the quarterbacks for 30 minutes was that they love Brock Purdy. They really do. They really love Brock. They believe in Brock. And they still are talking about him as the starter. That is abundantly clear and true. But what was also said was that they didn't name the starter, and they did say that they aren't going to be the ones making the decision. We came on here, we did a whole live about this. Kyle Shanahan said point blank, I am not making the decision who the starter is. Those guys are. The film is. They are deciding who is going to be quarterback one. This is just the first time that people can actually see, but it will be open for competition, that they're like, it's like they've been saying this. They've been saying this. This, I think, is the proper messaging for this situation. Brock Purdy's your guy, but you got Trey Lance, you got Sam Darnold, and you got Brandon Allen. Let these guys battle it out. You don't ever want to, like, if you don't have a solidified, locked-in guy, why would you put yourself in that position, even if it's from a perception standpoint? In football, competition is a good thing. Competition breeds success. If Brock Purdy is still coming back, I'm not sitting in a room with Trey Lance and Sam Darnold, and I'm telling Trey, this is your job. Sam, you have no chance. Brandon Allen, kick rocks. You're going to be on. you're going to be on the practice squad. Like, good luck. Like, no, that's not how we manage these locker rooms. Brock Purdy, yes, you are our guy, but you're also hurt. We got to see how you respond. You're going to be able to regain that positioning, but we're also going to let these guys battle it out. And does that mean that's going to happen? That they're going to overtake Brock Purdy? Not necessarily, but there's an opportunity. And that's all you need in this game of football is an opportunity. And that's why we've been talking about Trey Lance, Sam Darnold, doesn't matter. As long as the opportunity is there, these boys should be fighting. These boys should be scrapping and clawing for this QB1 position. And that's only going to make everyone in the quarterback room better. So, again, I know these things right now have gotten people like all stirred up because they're like, whoa, Brock should start or Trey should start. It's just like this back and forth constantly. And it's like, man, they're going to let this thing play out. They're going to let this thing play out. Brock is going to be the first shot at quarterback one. If everything bounces back and barring some like godly like jump from both Sam Darnold and Trey Lance, there's probably a good shot that Brock is going to be the QB1, barring that he heals right. But there's so many variables that it doesn't make sense for the 49ers from a public relations standpoint, whatever, messaging standpoint, for them to be like, yeah, Brock's quarterback one, Trey Lance is quarterback two, Sam Darnold's quarterback three. It's not where they're at. Where they're at right now is let these guys go out and get her done. And that's a good that's where we should be. I think that's a good spot. I think that's how it should be because I understand there are a lot of politics at this level because you're dealing with big dollar athletes and there's a lot. It's not just playing on the field. This is a business. So I understand the kind of those elements that come along with roster building and how that stuff works. But I think because that quarterback room, you don't have a clear-cut starter, I think this is the correct messaging. I think this is exactly how it should be. So, like I've been talking about, heading into training camp, is Trey Lance or Sam Darnold going to be able to do anything to truly prove that they're better than Brock Purdy right now or what Brock Purdy did last year? Probably not. I don't think there's enough that you can do in OTAs to overtake Brock. It's going to happen in training camp if it's going to happen. It's going to be preseason if it's going to happen. Like that's the level of you don't ever want to close off those windows or ranges of outcomes. So if Trey Lance comes out here and all of a sudden looks like a completely different person, completely different player, and everything's clicking and you're seeing a guy that is almost unrecognizable and he goes out in preseason and he starts lighting it up, like maybe we see that jump occur. And if Brock isn't truly ready and they decide, you know what, we're gonna give Brock some time. We're gonna let him sit week one, we're gonna let him sit week two. That's where the opportunities come. And you never know when the opportunity comes. You gotta stay ready. You gotta stay ready to be ready. And so I like the messaging. I think it's clear. I think it's concise. I think it makes sense. Considering all the variables with the 49ers quarterback positions right now, or just all of them, I think it makes sense. So I think we're still on track. I think we're still moving forward in a positive direction with the 49ers quarterback spot. So I'm pretty pleased by the first report of Brock Purdy throwing. And it's par for the course for what we've been talking about since the owners meetings. And it's going to be quite the ride. And that's why this is I keep saying it and I've been saying it for a long time. Long time. This is going to be the most entertaining training camp that I think we will have ever seen in a long time. Like, and I thought Trey Lance versus Jimmy Garoppolo, year one was a pretty darn entertaining training camp, but I don't think it's going to come close to what we're going to see because I think they are going to split the reps up equally. Last year, what they would do is they would go 3-3-3. 3 reps for Trey, 3 reps for Sud, 3 reps for Brock, and they would just rotate. I imagine it's going to be something similar. It's just going to be 3 on, 3 on, 3 on, 3 on, and they're just going to rotate through. And then, it's going to be Brock, Trey, Sam. It's going to be interesting to see how Allen is integrated. I imagine he maybe gets like 1 snap or like maybe 3 snaps for an entire team period because the team periods aren't long. The reps are rare, and it's going to be interesting to see how it ultimately plays out. But again, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it makes sense from all levels. And this allows also whoever is quarterback one to feel like they earned it. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that to feel like you've earned that spot. And with Brock, that people talk about like you can't lose your job to injury, and that's not true. People lose their jobs to injuries all the time. Look, just as recently as last year, Jimmy Ward lost his starting safety job due to an injury. He was injured for the first couple weeks of the season. Tashawn Gibson comes in, and they're like, you know what? We like Tashawn Gibson better at safety. We're going to play you at nickel. And Jimmy Ward was like, I don't want to play nickel. I want to play safety. I'm a safety. Kyle Shanahan said nickel or bench, at least according to Jimmy Ward. So you can absolutely lose your job to injury because the other guy gets that op and performs at a higher level. Then at that case, they make the decision, well, that opened the window for the other guy, and we've seen enough. We're going to go with that guy. So will that happen? Got to wait till training camp, baby. Got to wait till training camp. Michael, appreciate the super chat. Says, man, forget quarterback. Get the real news. What's going on with the kicker battle? What's the real news with the kicker battle? We should have media available today at the so today is open media day at OTAs. So we will get 49ers content. Hallelujah. Thank goodness it's not quite the dead period yet. We are teetering on the dead period, just right on it, but we are going to get some football content today from 49ers beat and whoever will be in attendance in Santa Clara for OTAs. So that is good news. And also in that regard, maybe we'll get some additional kicker news. We'll get some additional kicker news. So we will find out. I don't know. We had some conflicting reports last week about where the kickers were at, who made what, who missed what. So that's still kind of TBD, right? Because I don't think we know definitively. Because we have to let's hope that we're focused on, because they are refs, they will wave off a missed field goal or they will count a field goal. We'll see. It was reported by Mayoko that both Gonzalez and Moody missed 48-yard field goals. We'll see if that's changed. We'll see what happens. So, no one's posted. I don't think OTAs have started yet. I don't think it has started yet. Based on this current timing, I would say probably around 1:30 would be the practice time, maybe. So, I would say very soon, it's going to happen. So, be ready, be prepared, and again, we'll talk about it, we'll react to it, and, we'll see what we see. So, kicker competition will be at the top of the list. But again, I still don't think it's a competition. I think it's a competition that Moody's gonna win regardless. You know what I mean? It's just like Moody can't lose. I don't know how you approach a competition like that where you're like, yeah, these guys are competing, they're rotating, but it's Moody's job. Like you talk about return on investment, you talk about the third round capital given up. That's a lot more than they gave up to get Gonzalez. And so you would have to just think that it's Jake Moody's job. They're just keeping Gonzalez there to mentor, potentially mentor Moody. I would imagine that's kind of the conversation in that room. It's like, listen, Zane, like you know what it is. We're gonna keep you through camp, but we want you to mentor Moody. Like we want you to mentor him. We want you to be able to help him through these things, and we'll have a little you still get to kick. You guys could go back and forth. Nothing wrong with a little competition, and, we'll see how it goes, but, it's Moody's job, man. Like, there's no chance that no chance. Uh, Someone said, "Where are you reading your news, John?" Oh, he's talking to someone else, I think. Uh, Never mind. But my guy says, "I don't care who's our quarterback. I just want a ring." I think I wouldn't say that's where most fans are at, but I think we all agree that at the end of the day, we want a ring. Um, and that's what we're here to see. It's what we want. It's what we want. Uh, but anyways, in regards to the rest of the 49ers team, because guess what? There are more positions than just the quarterback. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. Uh, there's a lot of competition. We've talked about it before. And so those are the things that I'm going to want to be able to see from OTAs today. I want to see what the pecking order is for cornerback. I want to see what that looks like. I want to see where's Ambry. Ambry watch. This is a make or break year for Ambry Thomas. Ambry watch. I want Ambry to make the steps in the right direction, but this is also, I think, a make or break year for him. So if he's behind Luter, if he's behind these other guys that have been brought in, it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for Ambry Thomas. Again, OTAs, we're setting the baseline for training camp. We just want to know where these guys are at, where they're lining up, where we can start to see some of the competitions formulating. I don't think the competitions will be won here in OTAs, but I do think this is where we start to get the baseline. Like the big thing that I've noticed from some of the videos that have come out from the original OTAs is that it looks like Leroy Watson, former UTSA tackle, teammate of Spencer Burford, who was on the practice squad last year, he looks to have jumped Jalen Moore. So that is something that I want to be on the lookout for. Leroy Watson. I'm officially on Leroy Watson watch because if Leroy Watson has jumped Jalen Moore in OTAs, that is not a good sign for Jalen Moore. That is not a good sign for Jalen Moore's future. Like, Jalen has been on the roster as a 5th-round draft pick for the last 2 years, heading into year 3. But if he's getting jumped by a practice squad tackle in OTAs, that is, again, we're trying to identify where these players are moving up and down the depth chart. It's not definitive, but we set the baseline. The baseline right now, Leroy Watson, undrafted free agent, practice squad guy, has jumped a 5th-round tackle. Got to keep an eye on that. Tommy says Ambria's escapades. We got Tommy dropping butt puns. Nice. So Leroy Watson is the big one that I'm going to start to clue in. So my O-line eyeballs, Leroy Watson, where are you on the depth chart? It appears Nick Sakel, left guard, also want to really keep an eye on Feliciano. I think Feliciano's really going to challenge Burford, and I like Burford a lot. I think Burford has so much potential, and he can be so good. But I do find it interesting that we saw the rotation last year, and they're bringing in Feliciano this year. So this is on Burford right now, because I can look at Feliciano being 29, 30 years old and tell you exactly what Feliciano is. With Burford, I can't tell you exactly what he is because he has so much potential. He's still got to iron out some of those kinks that he had as a rookie, but the ceiling is so high with Burford. So we got to be able to see. We got to be able to see what that's going to look like. And I think training camp is going to be another interesting one if we're going to see that rotation at right guard, because I really do think everyone else is pretty much locked in. I don't think Colton McKivitz is competing with anyone. I don't think Brendel, I don't think Banks are competing with anyone. I really don't. Obviously, Trent isn't either. So our competitions are at depth and our one starting spot at right guard. So those are the offensive line things that I'm looking for. Obviously, wide receiver, I want to see who starts separating from that position. I still have hope for Danny Gray. I still think Danny Gray has plenty of potential left. I think a lot of people are putting him on notice, just like Ambry Thomas, just like Jalen Moore. And I can understand that. I can rationalize it, but I still have a belief in Danny Gray. And again, I might be a little biased. Hey, what's good, Locke? What's good, Locke? I'm a little biased because, hey, I like Danny Gray coming out. Danny Gray was a draft crush of mine, and I saw a lot of potential in Danny Gray. A lot of potential in Danny Gray coming out of SMU. I saw not just the burner ability. He has the speed, but I saw the other things that Danny Gray possesses. And I think if you could get Danny Gray a little bit more run, a little bit more comfortability, I got my eye on Danny Gray. He's not out the weeds yet, but I think the potential is through the roof with Danny. I still think I'm not ready to count him out. Not after one rookie year. Not after one rookie year when you had Ayuk, Debo, Juwan Jennings. You know, those three are locked in. And they brought in Ray McLeod for a reason. Now, I really think can Danny Gray challenge Ray McLeod? Can Danny Gray heading into year 2 put the pressure on Ray? Or are other guys going to come in and put the pressure on Danny? Is Tay Martin? Don't sleep on Tay Martin, man. I don't know if Tay Martin makes the roster this year. I don't know if he does, but he is going to be one of your prime practice squad guys. Like, he's going to be one of those guys that you see called up quite a bit on game days. I really like Tay Martin. I think Tay Martin's a dog. I think one of his best attributes is he can jump through the gym. That dude can go sky high in high point footballs. I think he can win in short areas, and I really like Tay Martin. But it does sound like Chris Conley's a guy, and also does sound like the Michigan rookie is a guy too. So again, you can look like a guy without pads on. So many guys can look like a guy in shorts and shirts. Let's wait till the pads get on. Let's wait till the pads get on. Danny Gray had one catch last year. But that's the beautiful thing about football, is that you're either improving or you're getting worse. You're not really staying the same. So for a rookie in a Kyle Shanahan scheme buried on the depth chart, what's the expectation? Did you expect him to come out and have a Brandon Ayuk type rookie season, where I think Brandon Ayuk had 700 receiving yards or so? I don't know if you guys remember, but Deebo Samuel, when the other wide receivers in the building were Kendrick Bourne, was like Lewis Murphy, like Deebo had a hard time acclimating to Kyle's offense. We know this. So just like we always do, there's a bit of an acclimation process for these wide receivers. So we'll see. Just because Danny Gray didn't do it last year doesn't mean he's not capable of doing it this year. I've seen enough glimmers of what talent Danny possesses in training camp, in preseason, to understand that he has it. But I got to prove it. Got to do it consistently. So we'll see. So we'll see what we get out of OTAs today. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to be hearing from Chris Forster, offensive line coach. That would be a phenomenal one to be. I would love to pepper him with some offensive line questions. That would be fun. Definitely, I would be asking about the Leroy Watson thing. I would, or at least preface it in a way where I'd be like, so can you tell us about Leroy Watson, a guy who's been a practice squad player for you last year? Does look like he has moved his way up the depth chart, at least in a preliminary sense. What can you tell us about Leroy Watson, and is he an ascending player for the San Francisco 49ers? You know, to basically get him to talk about Leroy without having to crap on what's his name, Jalen Moore. But it would be interesting. Tight end position. Yeah, tight end position is going to be. I feel like, again, another guy that we're watching who's going to be on that like potential chopping block is a Ross Dwelly. I still think they carry 4. I think they carry 4 tight ends. I think Warner has proven enough as a specialized blocker. I really think Dwelly, oh man, I thought Dwelly, I think heading into 2021 training camp, I was like, he looked bigger, he looked stronger. I was like, this is the year Dwelly takes that jump, like to being a legitimate tight end too. And he responded by melting and eventually getting jumped by Warner. So I think Willis has to make it. I think Latu has to make it. And then if I had to pick, Warner. So that this is the time of year, man, is like we want to see the guys ascend, but we're also keeping we're keeping track on guys who are descending. Um Not because we want to see them do that, but like that's what competition is in its essence, man. That's what football is we got to see who's taking the jumps, steps forward, who's taking steps back, and that's how we start to quantify 53-man projections and all those different types of things. Uh, so I'm looking forward to it all. Looking forward to it all. We're also going to get special. We're going to get special teams coach Brian Schneider speaking to the media today. So that means we will get some special teams updates. Let's go. I will say, Brian Schneider, I really didn't put a ton of I was like, because we made a lot about the special teams issues and uh special teams issues with the previous coach, and I was like, man, is it coaching? Is it kind of the depth being decimated to injury? Like, what is it? But it does feel like Schneider has came in and made a difference from a special teams perspective because the teams unit has really improved. And now they did invest into special teamers. They invested in Odom, who was an all pro as a special teamer. They invested in Oren Burks for special teams. So they actually went out and they invested in special teams players, which again was kind of where I was thinking where special teams was lacking is they just did not have the players to fill the teams unit. And but even so, it does seem like Schneider is doing a pretty darn good job nonetheless. So we'll hear from him. Maybe he'll give us an update on how the kickers are working out and all those different types of things. So we'll get some football today from San Francisco 49ers. And we're looking forward to that, man. Looking forward to that. Did you guys see George Kittle break the internet yesterday? George Kittle out here getting spicy. Getting spicy with his new drops. I will say, though, it worked. It definitely worked. Got the people going. I actually didn't see what I took a little Twitter break. I took a little Twitter break this past weekend. I really didn't do a whole much on Twitter yesterday either. But it was nice. It's nice. It's nice taking a break from Twitter every once in a while. I've realized you need Twitter breaks, especially at this time of the year when there's just a whole lot of speculating about quarterbacks. It's nice. It's nice to take a step back. Nice. Just to relax. Oh, good times, man. Good times. And we're going to get more phenomenal quarterback breakdowns. Please take Jimmy Garoppolo back, please. What happened? You don't want You don't want Himmy? You don't want Himmy G? Why not? What happened? He's your quarterback now. Why don't you like him? I thought it was I thought it was Raiders over everything. I thought it was black and silver till the death of me. That's your boy. That's your guy. We can't take him back. He's your guy. That's your guy. It's not our guy. Our guys right now are Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, and Trey Lance, Brandon Allen. We can't take him back. He's not ours. He's yours. He's your quarterback. He's your quarterback one. Honestly, and really not trying to shade Jimmy or anything like that, but like if I was a Raider fan, I would be concerned. Oh, I would be so concerned right now. Um, I really would. Like if Jimmy Garoppolo is on your roster week 1 and that contract like actually kicks in where they're like, "Okay, he's healthy and he passed the physical and he's on the Raiders in 2023 playing football games for them," I would be so concerned. Like, you wanna know how concerned I would be? Like, I'm so mad at myself because I knew this was coming without knowing this was coming. Before the whole Jimmy foot thing broke, like, you guys know I play dynasty football. I'm in an ungodly amount of dynasty football leagues. So these are year-round leagues. We have rookie drafts, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The reason why I have Brock Purdy in a ton of my dynasty drafts was not because I saw Brock Purdy in training camp, was like, oh, Brock's lighting it up. I got to go add Brock everywhere. It was Jimmy rarely makes it through a season. Trey is already hurt. I'm going to grab Brock Purdy. He's free on the waiver wire. I'm going to snatch up Brock. And now and I even some of my leagues, I didn't do it in all of my leagues. I did it in probably about 70% of my leagues. And in the 30% of leagues I didn't do it in, I'm like, why didn't I do it? Because now I've got potentially a franchise quarterback that I got for free off the waiver wire. And so the same thing applied after the rookie drafts. So if you play Dynasty, your rookie drafts happen in May. So you have your rookie draft picks. You typically depends on what your structure is, whether 3-round rookie draft, 4-round, or 5-round rookie draft. And it's all rookies from this past class. Aiden O'Connell, the Purdue quarterback, 4th-round pick for the Raiders, went undrafted in almost all these leagues. So he didn't get drafted. And I I in my brain was like, I need to pick him up. Not because I like him necessarily, but because Jimmy's their quarterback. Who's behind him? Brian Hoyer. I'm like, he's not a guy. So just by sheer like numbers, I'm like, Aiden O'Connell will probably play this year. And I think I picked him up in maybe one league. And then that news dropped, and I'm like, oh, I see. I knew. My gut was telling me, like, you need to pick up Aiden O'Connell because he's backing up Jimmy G. Not necessarily because I like Aiden O'Connell, but because Jimmy Garoppolo just has such a high probability of injury that I would be terrified right now if he is on the week 1 roster, he cashes in that check, and he's your quarterback because he's probably going to get hurt again. And I don't dislike Jimmy. I really don't. He's not the best quarterback in the world. He has some imperfections. He's got a beautiful chin line. He's great in the short intermediate area of the field, but he gets hurt a lot. He gets hurt a lot. Um, And so if I was a Raider fan, man, I would be terrified. Would be terrified. But I'm also hearing that hey, Tom Brady might be the Raiders quarterback this year. He can own the Raiders and play for them apparently. So good job, Raiders. Doing Raider things. Way to keep Devontae Adams happy. Great job, Raiders. Just Raiders being Raiders still makes me happy. Still makes me smile every once in a while to see Raiders do Raider things. And we are going to see the Raiders. See, I hope Jimmy is the quarterback. I hope we get to see him in training camp. That would be fantastic. I would love to do that. I would love to do that. I would love to see Jimmy versus the 49ers defense. It- I mean, the content would be through the moon just because our fan base is so toxic. Most of our fan base is so toxic that gosh, they would be just frothing at the mouth for every Jimmy Garoppolo interception. It would be insane. But I guess that's the Raiders right now. I would be absolutely shocked to see Jimmy Garoppolo return to the 49ers. Uh, am I going to training camp this year? Absolutely. I'll be at training camp. I'll be at joint practices. So I'll make the trek to Las Vegas, just like I did last year. I went to Minnesota. I'm glad it's in Vegas. It's a little bit shorter of a distance for me to go, and probably be a little hotter. I will say Minnesota is really nice. I like going to places I've never been before. So that was an experience going to Minnesota. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed my time there. But I would be looking. I'm not upset about short travel to Las Vegas to watch 49ers versus Raiders during practices. That seems like it's going to be fantastic. So I'll be at training camp doing our thing. We'll be up at the top bleacher. This is what we do. We go to the top bleacher. I got my trusty notepad, and I got to remember to bring binoculars this year. I got to remember, but we take all our notes, we track, we do like I got 2-minute drill notes, I got one-on-one notes, like from last year, Hufanga wins versus Kittle, Trent stuffs Bosa, Burford wins versus Omenahue, Ayuk deep win versus Charvarius Ward, School beat by Hyder, Drake Jackson beat by Schluter, Burford versus Omenahue. Omenahue wins. So Burford won the first rep. Omenahue came back, won the second rep. Trent dominates Bosa. Ooh, I remember that series. It's coming back to my head as we speak. Trent was in his bag. I remember that. And then Drake Jackson bull rushed Sutherland. Yeah, so we'll be out there. We'll be cooking, man. Looking forward to it. Just can't wait to get around football. Ooh, the clips are going to be beautiful. There's going to be a ton of them. They are, but I am I am going to be taking them all and posting them all. I'm looking forward to it. Someone said, "What do I think about Larry Allen being compared to Trent Williams?" Well, Larry Allen is did he play interior offensive line, right? Wasn't he a guard? Pretty sure he was a guard. Uh, he is a 7-time first team All-Pro, 11-time Pro Bowler. He's 6'3", 325 pounds. I just think they're different players, man. Again, I haven't studied Larry Allen like I studied Trent. Like, I've studied Trent more than probably anyone. But that's like really what Trent is doing. I know is unprecedented. Like with what he's doing. I think they're different. I think they're different. He played right tackle for the Cowboys, right guard for us. Okay. Trent could play any position. Trent would destroy anyone from any position, to be honest. Trent is positionless. He could play center if he wanted to. But he is best suited at tackle. That is his best spot. For sure. So I'm trying to see. I'm looking around to see what the schedule's looking like for today. Let me see. When do we start getting some stuff? When do we start getting some stuff? So when we start getting some clips and things like that, I'll start posting what I can. And we'll we'll do a live reaction to it as well. And I'm not seeing any indication of when. Oh, there we go. Right. Oh, right on cue. We got some clips coming out. So do we talk about them? Should I reset the live? I kind of feel like I should reset the live a little bit. So practice is underway. I just seen some clips coming out. So I kind of want to reset the live though. If I reset the live, will you guys follow? Will you guys follow me? Will you? All right. All right. I'm going to reset it just because we've been talking for so long about this other topic. So I don't want to blend the two topics together. So again, if you don't get post notifications, what I'm going to do is we're just going to reset it. So we're going to just kind of funnel all the clips through. We're going to react to them. We're going to comment. We're going to like it. We're not going to like it. We're going to do it all. So stay tuned. So I'm just going to literally get the next live up and we're going to react to the clips. We're going to react to what we see. So I'll see you in a little bit. Stay tuned. Like this one on your way out. When you hop into the next one, like that one too. So I'm going to get that one set up. And so I'll probably see you guys in about 5 minutes. So stay tuned. Stay locked in. I'll be right back. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it.